Lessons from the backyard. We're back. So today's Jen's birthday. So what I want to do is we're going to cook some sweet frickin' ribeyes. And we are also going to cook some New York strip. And we're going to be doing it right there on top of the cooking grate that my buddy Jason made for me. You've seen us cook with it before, so pretty excited. And also I've been working on bread lately. Been doing a fair amount of bread. Been working on a sourdough starter, and just got that like to where it's absolutely perfect. So I've been working 2 loaves of sourdough all day long. I mean, all day long. I have been just prepping it, stretching it, getting it ready. Now, this could royally blow up and just totally suck. Well, you get to be a part of it, so it should be fun. So, right now, I'm going to go take a break. And we got some wood that just needs to keep burning down. Stay tuned. Hey, look who's here. It's Jason, the favorite cooking assistant. All right, so here's what we got. We spread out the logs to the outside so that I could generate plenty of spot on the inside just to keep the coals going. Now I'm preheating this Dutch oven. Yeah, you've seen this Dutch oven before. We did biscuits in it, we did goulash in it, we've done all kinds of stuff in it. So what we're doing on top is we're preheating this. So we're doing the sourdough like an artisan loaf of bread. So we are literally going to preheat this cast iron, and then I'm going to take the top off by using that little teeny notch right there, and then we drop the bread in and put the top back on and say a prayer. We'll see. Should work in theory, hopefully. Here we go. We are going to quickly but cautiously lift this thing up, set this down, get our bread in there. Give it a pat for good luck. Let's score it because that looks cool. No ashes on the bread. Bam! It's almost like we know what we're doing. Throw. I want to tell you something that's pretty cool about sourdough bread that I started realizing is that this stuff is almost like a religion. People go crazy over this. I was watching a video at one point in time, and somebody was talking about how you can literally go online and buy starter that's really, really old. So I went on eBay. I found somebody selling a 120-year-old sourdough starter. It's this guy's great-grandmother's recipe in New York, or her starter in New York, whatever. It could have been a complete and utter line of bull. I believe it. So literally, they dehydrate part of the starter, send it to you, then you take it, you mix it with water, and you mix it with flour and a little bit of sugar, and then you follow this process that they give you, and you literally create sourdough starter. So the cool thing is that literally this bread that we're making right now is 120 years old. At least part of it is. Let that settle in for a second. That's pretty crazy. Jay, do you find that crazy?
It's awesome.
Yep, sure is. It's freaking crazy. Whoop. Yep, you heard Jen yelling at Luna. Good stuff. We have no clue how this is going to turn out. I have never made bread like this. So this could be a success or a disaster. Either way, it should be interesting. Oh my gosh. Look at that. Holy crap. That's sourdough bread. Okay, now we're supposed to cook this for another 10 minutes with the top off. I think I'm just gonna, honestly, I'm gonna move it to a side because this sucker, it looks like it's done already. But that is pretty freaking cool. There we go. Let's get the steaks on. So we got some steaks, we've got some strips. Get out of there, dummy. Some ribeyes, and Jay's got himself a porterhouse. Jay and I both like our meat just shy of raw. So we like ours rare, so we're gonna put ours on a little bit later. Get these ones going first.
I think, how are you taking the video?
What's that, babe? Go ahead.
I think Autumn likes hers a little more done than we do too.
Yep, that's why I'm putting them on now.
Who are you videoing to?
Jay. The guy with the phone. Lowry's, can't go wrong. Don't be bashful. We'll put those on for a minute, then we'll put ours on.
Go on, dogs.
Cool.
We can try to order a new fan. Okay, for how much? He's like,
Hey, guess what? In typical Sean fashion, I totally forgot to film the last part of the video that showed the steaks being done and us eating them. Well, Jay, how's your steak?
Amazing.
Yeah, it was. You have to take our word for it. But the bread, the outside was absolutely amazing. The inside was a touch underdone. The bottom burnt to a effing crisp. So I got a little bit of fine tuning I got to do to figure out how to keep that from burning quite that bad. But that was on a pretty doggone intense heat. So the good thing is that recipe I used makes 2 loaves of bread. So we still have a whole nother loaf of bread that we're going to do tomorrow. So I'm going to finish this series up tomorrow with doing the last loaf inside of the oven in a, what is that thing called? Ceramic coated cast iron. So a different style of cast iron. So yeah, see you tomorrow.
just crawling. She's like, eh.
Okay, so yesterday we made sourdough on the fire. Okay, we did that in a traditional Dutch oven that's a regular cast iron, no enamel. Okay. So basically, okay, so here's another thing. I'm doing this out of research, not out of experience. You're right, Penny. She's yelling at Maggie. So 2 types of cast iron. Enameled, which you cannot preheat because it will cause the enamel to crack. Or the traditional cast iron, which is unenameled. You can preheat that thing and cook it as hot as you want. So the reason I say that is because with sourdough, the best way to get the big artisan loaves, since it's, you know, you're really working on the natural yeast, is you want to have it inside of a Dutch oven. Since we can't preheat this one, I'm going to be curious to see what it looks like. So again, this is our first time doing this. So we're going to put it in the oven at 450, not 500 like you should in a regular cast iron, because that's as high as the temperature will go on this. And we're going to go into the oven. So we're going to score it just so it looks cool. They say to go in at an angle, not straight down. So we're just going to do a little decorating so it looks cool. So, other thing I wanted to mention is that if you guys do want to see a video of how to make the actual starter, I can do that. It was pretty cool realizing that this starter is part of a strain that's over 120 years old. So I'm pretty excited to see how it comes out looking this way. The big thing with doing the sourdough like this is we want maximum heat to get maximum lift out of the loaf, since we didn't use instant yeast. So again, we're learning. You're on the adventure with me. I'll put it in the oven and check back with you. Okay, here it is. So first thing they tell you is to, again, the cast iron with the enamel has to go in cold. So it hits the oven at 450, 25 minutes with the cover on, 10 minutes with the cover off. You're looking for an internal temperature, whoops, wrong button here. Just over 200 degrees is what they said. So let's just check and see what we got here. That's close enough that I am not gonna put it back in. It's gonna continue to heat up for, excuse me, a couple more minutes. It's gonna finish. So we're not gonna do that. First impressions, looks amazing, but I will tell you, honestly, it looks to be about 2/3 of the size of the loaf that we got yesterday. Maybe half of the size of the loaf we did yesterday. That really shows me one thing of just when you put it into a hot pan, how much more out of the time you get before it's done, how much more activation you're going to get out of the living yeast that's inside of it. So we'll see how it is later. I don't understand why it's so hard for me to remember to record when you're eating. You think I'd have this down pat by now, but oh yeah, the second loaf, we ate it. It was delicious, but it was not right. It was very dense. It was not airy at all. It was very, very heavy. I know I totally screwed up. I did not make sure my starter was hungry enough. I did not do a good enough job of the leaven process. So all in all, I had a blast doing it, and the first loaf was pretty good, you know, other than being burnt on the bottom. But the loaf that we did inside, it was still good, but it wasn't as good as what I know it can be. So I'm already back to trying it again. And this time I will do my best to remember to record it when it's done, but we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.